Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Prajikacharya Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Shri Gaurnitai ki jai, Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai, Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Maharani ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Oh my God, such a big garland. Hari Bol. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Yatha Roop ki jai. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshunamalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swam Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapat Kamlam Shri Gurana Vaishnavasya Shri Rupam Sagratam Sahagan Ragnatvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sarabhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakhanatmascha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagat Pate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sata Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpataru bhaksha kripa sindhu vacha patitanam pavane bhyo vaishnavyo namo nama Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hi Krishna. So I welcome you all for the session today, Bhagavad Gita session, chapter 7, verse 2. The second, 7, sorry. It's the topic of this chapter is, the title is Knowledge of the Absolute. So Krishna gives about knowledge about himself. So we'll just first I'll just recite the shloka, you can recite after me. Jnanam te aham savijnanam idam vakshyami asheshata yajñātvā neha bhuvanai anyaj Jnanatvam avisheshate Jnanam te aham savijnanam idam vakshyami asheshata yajñātvā neha bhuvo anyaj Jnanatvam avisheshyate Jnanam te ham savijnanam idam vakshyami asheshata yajñātvā neha bhuvo anyaj Jnanatvam avisheshyate. Please, somebody will recite.
Jnanam te savijnanam.
Jnanam te savijnanam.
Idam vakshyami asheshatah.
Idam vakshyami asheshatah.
Yajñātvā neha bhuvo anyag.
Yajñātvā neha bhuvo anyag.
Jnāntvayam avisheshyate.
Jnātvayam avisheshyate.
सविज्ञानम्
ज्ञानं ते सहं सविज्ञानम्
इदं वक्ष्याम्यशेषतः यज्ञात्वा नेह भूयोऽन्यत्
ज्ञात्वनेह भूयोऽन्यत्
ज्ञातव्यमविशिष्यते
ज्ञात्वमवशिष्यते
ज्ञानं तेषां
ज्ञानं ते
इदं वक्ष्यामि अशेषतः
इदं वक्ष्यामि शेषतः
ज्ञात्वानेह भूयोऽन्यत्
यज्ञात्वानेह
भूयोऽन्यत्
ज्ञातव्यम् अविशिष्यते
ज्ञातव्यम्
Prabhuji's.
ज्ञानं तेऽहं सविज्ञानम्
ज्ञानं तेऽहं सविज्ञानम्
इदं वक्ष्यामि शेषतः
इदं वक्ष्यामि शेषतः
यज्ञात्वा नेह भूयोऽन्यात्
यज्ञात्वनेह भूयोऽन्यत्
ज्ञात्वयम् अविशिष्यते
ज्ञात्वयम् अविशिष्यते
So, word meanings, translation, and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Repeat after me. Jnanam,
ज्ञानं
phenomenal knowledge.
phenomenal knowledge
Te, unto you. Aham, I. Sa, with. Vijnanam, numinous knowledge. Idam, this. Vakshyami, shall explain. Asheshata, in full. Yat, which. Jnanatva, knowing. Na, not. Iha, in this world. Bhuva, further. Anyat, anything more. Jnanatvam, knowable. Avishishyate, remains. Please repeat the translation after me. I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. So this is the Bhagavad Gita spoken by Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. So the first shloka starts with Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, spoken by that's Krishna, Sri Krishna himself. He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he sings the Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita has got 18 chapters. So we divide the 18 chapters into set of 6. So there are 3 set of 6 chapters each. So when you eat a sandwich or a burger, you know that the first is the covering of a bread, again underneath is a covering of bread, and in between is the most juicy content. So the first chapter, actually the first 6 chapters, that's the bread. The inner content is again from the chapter, the second set of the 6 chapters that come. So that is the most juicy content. And then you again have a protective covering, another bread. So third set, that is the 6 chapters, is the second bread. So the most juicy content, because this is the Bhagavad Gita that teaches us. It's a celestial song sung by Krishna himself. So this teaches us how we have to live in this world. So today's verse is very important for us to understand that why this phenomenal knowledge, the knowledge of this material world, as well as the numinous knowledge of the divine, the spiritual knowledge, how it is so important to know both. So Bhagavad Gita talks about 5 topics. So you all must be aware, those who are regularly coming for Bhagavad Gita sessions, they know the 5 topics that have been discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. The first and the foremost, Krishna talks about himself. He talks about his opulences, about himself, who is he, how he should be known, what everybody should do for him. He gives all the instructions in the Bhagavad Gita. Second, he talks about all the jivas, all the species, that is all the beings, living beings. He talks about them. He tells who are they, what is their connection with him. He talks about that. And he talks about how the soul is important. The living being means the soul. He's talking about the soul. So he talks about the soul. There is no scripture, no college, you go to any college in the world, no college, no university gives you the knowledge of the soul. Though the soul is so important. If the soul is there, the body is walking and talking and is conscious. But no college talks about the soul. No university talks about the soul. They just talk about the phenomenal knowledge, the body, the knowledge of the physical, what you will do with this body, how you will gain more and more opulences, how you will gain more material gains in this body, with this body. So they talk about how you would gain in this physical body, how would you make the gains. They talk only about that. So Krishna talks about it. So he talks about the jivas. Third, he talks about the modes of the material nature. He talks about the three modes of material nature that are working here in this universe. They are working on this planet. They're working in millions of universes. So he says these three modes of material nature, the mode of goodness, the mode of passion, the mode of ignorance, they are at work. So he's talking about the material nature that is at work because of this. Then he talks about time. He tells how important time factor is. Time will eat up everything. We say, no, time is the greatest healer, time is the greatest, everything it is gonna eat. It's like a serpent. It's gonna take away everything from you. Time will take away. Time takes away your youth from you. Time takes away your opulences from you. Time can take away your near and dear ones from you. Time takes away everything from you. So time, what is time? Krishna talks about it. He says, why time is so important in life. He talks about that. Then he talks about the fifth thing, which I'm missing. What I'm missing, who would say? Karma. Because everybody knows Bhagavad Gita with karma. They say Bhagavad Gita talks about karam hi sara. Karam is the essence. Action is the essence. Bhagavad Gita talks of that. But they forget what kind of karma Krishna is talking about. So karma, everybody thinks, oh, I am a householder. I am doing my duties nicely. I am raising my children nicely. I am taking care of my family. So my karma is done. I am a very nice devotee. He declares himself to be a devotee, a bhakta. But that's not so. So if somebody is doing a business so nicely, he would say, oh, I run my business very nicely. I'm very truthful in my business. I'm very nice to others. I'm very, those who all come, I'm very compassionate to them. I'm very nice to them. So I'm running my business so well. I'm doing my karma. So that is my puja. That is my worship. They think, oh, worship, this work is worship for them. So they think that karma is worship. That is bhakti. So Krishna actually, he declares all about this, that what exactly karma is. So here he is giving the knowledge. He says, Krishna is going to reply to Arjuna soon. Many, very, very important verses are going to come into this chapter because Krishna is giving the knowledge. Arjuna had many questions. They are being answered by Krishna. So here we are today. I'll just go to the previous translation, the first verse, where it's Krishna says, the Supreme Personality of God had said, now hear, O son of Pritha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with the mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. So he says, hear from me now, O son of Pritha. So Pritha is his aunt. That's Kunti Maharani. So he's saying, you are my very dear one. Because Krishna addresses Arjuna with different titles, different words he uses to address Arjuna. From different verses we come to know that. Here he is saying, oh, you are so dear to me, you are my family actually. So being my family, how can I misguide you? So he says, now how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me. So he's talking about the yoga. Yoga means when connection, getting connected. So yoga word in Sanskrit means when you get connected. So he says, practicing yoga in full consciousness of me. So you are conscious of me. That's Krishna, he says. And then what happens? With the mind attached to me. When you give your mind to me, that means your mind is totally focused on me. It is attached to me. You can know me in full, free from doubt. So that is the only way you can know me. And free from doubt. Always he's telling Arjuna, be free from doubt. So that's why Prabhupada made it mandatory for question answers to be taken up. Because nobody should go out of the temple with doubt in their mind. They should clarify their doubts. So that is Krishna actually, the question answer session is actually Krishna has started with it. He introduced it. And he is making it for us even, that we should try to understand Krishna through what he is singing here. This is a song that has been sung. So here in this particular verse, he talks about the phenomenal knowledge and the numinous knowledge. When you go to Srimad Bhagavatam also, in the third canto, Lord Kapila, he gives Devahuti, his mother, the same sermon. He talks about again the phenomenal and the numinous knowledge to his mother. Because that relation, Sankhya philosophy he gives, that is very important to understand. When you understand the correlation of these two, then the importance of the spiritual world you would understand it says in a better way. So I'll just go to the purport of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada says, complete knowledge includes knowledge of the phenomenal world, the spirit behind it, and the source of both of them. This is transcendental knowledge. The Lord wants to explain the above mentioned system of knowledge because Arjuna is Krishna's confidential devotee and friend. In the beginning of the 4th chapter, this explanation was given by the Lord, and it is again confirmed here. Complete knowledge can be achieved only by the devotee of the Lord in disciplic succession directly from the Lord. Therefore, one should be intelligent enough to know the source of all knowledge, who is the cause of all the causes and the only object for meditation in all types of yoga practice. When the cause of all causes becomes known, then everything knowable becomes known and nothing remains unknown. The Vedas say in Mundaka Upanishad 1.3, Kasmano Bhagavo Vigyate Sarvam Idam Vigyatam, that is Bhavatiti. So here it says, Prabhupada says, complete knowledge includes the knowledge of phenomenal world and the spirit behind it and the source of both of them. So the source, Krishna says, he will be speaking again. When ahead in the chapters we'll go, Krishna says that Aham Sarvasya Prabhu, everything comes from me. Brahmaji declares that Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha Nadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karna Karma. He's the Karan, he's the cause of all the causes in this world. He is the supreme knower. He is the supreme being who is the cause of everything. And that is how one should understand him, because everything is coming from him. And one who understands this, then he can totally surrender. He can easily surrender. But one, if he has doubts in mind, the surrender becomes difficult. The surrender means actually serving. And service is only done with love. If there is no love, service cannot be done. So when we have, that's why Krishna declares that know me fully. How you can know me? When you actually understand the correlation between the material world and the spiritual. Here Prabhupada mentions in the source of both of them. And this is transcendental knowledge. Transcendental knowledge is the knowledge that transcends the 3 gunas, that transcends the 3 modes of material nature. That knowledge is transcendental. That is divine. In mode of goodness, if you receive the knowledge, and application becomes difficult, because in mode of goodness, the knowledge means that you become very proud of it. In mode of goodness, you are there, and unless you surrender to Krishna, your knowledge, you cannot be better. The pride won't leave you until you surrender to Krishna. But in the mode of goodness, if you got knowledge, then the pride is bound to come. You see so many scholars when they fight over, they just have the difference of opinions, they argument, and that's all is going on. Then if mode of passion, if in mode of passion you cannot surrender to Krishna, because what does mode of passion does? It makes you more and more materialistic. It makes you more and more aggressive. You want more to enjoy this material world. You're obsessed with more. In Rajagun, that is Rajagun. Like in the early morning, if you see on the roads by 7:30, 8 o'clock, you'll see a lot of traffic jams. People are they don't have time now to speak to each other even. They just have to rush to the place of work. They are rushing. Everybody is rushing. They are not at all at peace. So why they are rushing? Because they are in search of, that is the mode of passion is there in them. They are aggressive. They are going for work. They have to earn their living. They are too full of aggression now. So that is what mode of passion does. Most of passion leads a sinful life even. When Krishna will be asked by Arjuna later that I don't want to commit sins, and how do I commit sin? I don't want to commit sin. But somehow Without knowing even, I commit sin. Then Krishna tells him, Kameshe Krodeshe Rajaguna Samadhava, because you're in the mode of passion. So when a person is in mode of passion, it's liable he will be committing sins. Sins will happen. Unknowingly he'll commit sins. And a sinful life is the one where that Krishna does not like. He doesn't want us to be sinful. And in mode of ignorance is a sinful life. It's in itself speaks about ignorance means when you're totally sinful. You don't go according to the scriptures. So the Vasudev state, that is the transcendental knowledge. When you have the Vasudev state, that is the Vishuddha Sattva. You want to cross over the mode of goodness even. You want to actually follow the knowledge for Krishna. You want to apply it for Krishna. That is Vasudev state. That is the Vishuddha Sattva. When you use your knowledge even for the service of Krishna. So knowledge is whatever you have gained here. So the phenomenal knowledge, what you get about the material body, and if you put your material body in service of Krishna, giving up your mind to him, that mind is the subtle body. There's this physical, we've got one physical body, he's going to describe that also in this chapter. So we have a physical body that is made of 5 gross elements. So we all know them, Panch Tattva Bhautik De, we have this gross element body. And then there is a subtle body that is inside this body that cannot be seen with naked eye. We cannot see that body. And that body is made up of mind, intelligence, and false ego. That body, actually in that body, what is entrapped? What is entrapped in that body? Our soul is entrapped in that body. So whatever actions we do, whatever karmas we do, they become sanskaras. And they get embedded in our subtle body. That is why a child is able, when it's born, 2 siblings are there in a family. Both are of the same parents, but they both have different nature. So why do they have different nature? Though they are siblings. Why? Because they have carried that subtle body and they had those sanskaras which they had done in previous births have been embedded in that subtle body. And they have brought, that's why they've got another body now. A physical body. So if you want to get rid of your cycle of birth and death, what one has to do? Get rid of this subtle body. You have to free your soul. So the soul gets freed from your subtle body if your mind and intelligence and false ego, these 3 things are actually finished off when you get rid of them. When you offer your mind and intelligence, that's why Krishna is asking, give your mind and intelligence to me. So when you offer that to Krishna, you work with his mind and intelligence, and then your false ego is finished. Because if you are working according to Krishna and Guru, and because Guru is the representative of Krishna, we can't understand these difficult verses. So that's the role what Srila Prabhupada played. He's the eminent Shiksha Guru. So he gave us the translations and the purports to understand. So when you read the translations, and if you can Google out the verse, it will be the identical what Prabhupada has given. The word meanings are exactly the same. So it's not that Prabhupada has concorded something or given us something that is not in the scriptures. It's exactly what he's given, it's there in the scriptures. So that is why it's easy for us to understand. So we can understand from here that how we have to get rid of our subtle body. So this subtle body, actually made up of mind, intelligence, and false ego, this body, the physical body, dies on its own. Every minute it's dying. Every minute. Every second it's dying. Minute is a bigger word. Every second it's dying. I cannot go back and buy the minutes that have gone away. Just few seconds that have gone away, I cannot buy with millions of dollars. I cannot buy that back. So it's dead. Those seconds are dead. They are gone. They will never come back. You cannot utilize that time again, ever again. It's gone. So this is how it is that every moment the physical body is dying, whereas the spiritual body, the subtle body that is entrapping the soul, it does not die on its own. It cannot die. Even after death, see, it carries away. It goes into the another body. So it doesn't die on its own. How do you kill that? You have to really murder that. How do you kill that? It says in the scriptures, one should actually get rid of this subtle body so that the soul never dies, but that person may never have spiritual death. We may never have spiritual death. They are very unfortunate, those who die spiritually. So we are fortunate that we have Srila Prabhupada and the Guru Parampara to hold us so that we don't die spiritually. So that when we pass out from this life, when our gross body ends, we may be able to finish off with the subtle body as well, so that our soul gets released. So our soul gets released when we offer service to Krishna. So that is giving our mind and intelligence to Krishna in simple language, and then getting rid of our false ego. So our false ego is that, oh, I am this body, I and mine. I have a family, me and my family, my children, my husband, my wife, my business, my job. It's all me, my. So when that stops over, it's not me and mine anymore. It's only we are talking of Krishna. We are talking of Him. We are offering everything, including our family members, to Krishna for His protection. They may remain under His protection now. We just are serving Krishna so that we can do our duties better with our family, our job, our business, that's all. But we put everything in service of Krishna. So when we put everything in service of Krishna, the subtle body will end. It will release the soul, because soul actually wants to be released. That is why we don't find peace, because the gross and the subtle body, they are mismatched. It's a mismatch. The spiritual body, the spiritual soul, it belongs to Krishna's abode. Krishna says, Mame Vanshu Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. You are my part and parcel. He's not talking about this gross body, he's talking of the soul. So he says, this soul is my part and parcel. But we have actually not used it for his purpose, because it's his part and parcel means it is meant to serve him. It is not meant to serve us. But we forcefully we have entrapped it, and we are actually serving not him, but the material world. So when we are serving the material world, we are not at peace, because it's a mismatch. This body is meant to serve Krishna. The soul, I will quote from the Granth Sahib, it's just coming to my mind right now. It says there, Bhai prapat manak dehariya, Govind milan ki e teri bariya, avar kaj kite na kam mila sadh sangat bhaj kevala naam. It says there, now you have got a human body. Bhai prapat manak dehariya. Somehow or other you have got a human form now. Now is the only golden chance to meet Govinda. In other forms you could never meet Krishna. And now this is the golden chance. Bhai prapat manak dehariya, Govinda milan ki e teri bariya. Now is the chance to meet Govinda. So don't let this chance go away. Avar kaj kite na kam. It clearly says, all those works with the material body, whatever you did in this world, you got many degrees, you got such a big business, you got everything. Just recently, Ratan Tata passed away. He owned so many business houses. People are sharing that he was such a big businessman, and he's talking about buying BMW and all other things. He's talking about buying such big business houses. And they're glorifying him. It's okay. Whatever anybody thinks, it's fine. We don't say anything to that. But would not it have been better that if he had been a nice devotee of the Lord, if he had been totally dedicated to the Lord? So it is that whatever you may conquer in this world, we know Alexander the Great, he conquered the world. And when he passed out from this world, you know what he asked his ministers and all, what they should do when they would take him out in the coffin? What should they do? They should keep his hands out of his, coffin, so that everybody may see that he went barehanded, nothing in his hands. So he wanted this to be established that everything what he had conquered, he could not take away a single needle with him. So he went barehanded. So what is the use of we get everything in this world and not get Krishna? So our kaj kite na kam, it says clearly there, whatever you may do in this material world with this material body, it will not be of any use at the time of death. It will not be helpful. It is okay for you to survive here. You may have a devotee, you will say money is needed, everything is needed to be Krishna conscious also. Yes, it's needed, it's required. So just not be a fan of some luxuries. Just have a simple life and high thinking. That's all. That's all the scriptures tell us. That's what Krishna tells us. So it says, Avar kaj kite na kam milasad. Then what should we do? Milasad sangata bhaj keval naam. Go into the association of devotees and chant the holy name. That is only what one should do in this, when they've got a human form. That is the purpose of human life. Go in the association of devotees and chant the holy name. It says, Avar kaj kite na kam milasad sangata bhaj keval naam. Sarjam lag bhavjal ke janam pritha jat rangamaya hetake. It clearly, Guru Nanak Dev Ji says that what happens is, you are wasting your life, simply wasting your life running after Maya. You are being bewildered by the illusory energy of Krishna. So do not get bewildered. Just go into the association of devotees and chant the holy name. That is the purpose of human life. The scripture says, even it says, the Vedanta Sutra says, the first line of Vedanta Sutra is Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Go and inquire, who are we? Who am I? What is the purpose of me being here? These are the basic questions one should ask. Who am I? Why am I here? Where have I to go? Where will I go after death? One should inquire these questions. This is Athato Brahma Jigyasa. And it says, Dharamhina Pashubhi Samana. Dharam doesn't mean, no, I am a Hindu, I am a Sikh, I am a Muslim, I am a Christian. No. Dharam means those who don't follow the words of the Supreme Lord. Without that, they are just like an animal. They are not human beings even. So one should be actually, this is the source of, it says here, the transcendental knowledge. The Lord wants to explain the above, this is transcendental knowledge. The Lord wants to explain the above mentioned system of knowledge because Arjuna is Krishna's confidential devotee and friend. So Arjuna is Krishna's friend and devotee. He is Krishna's friend. So Krishna loves those who are his friends and those who are his devotees. He loves them. So one should be, and who is Krishna's friend is a friend for everybody. So that is what, he is well-wisher for all. So Titikshava Karunake, that is in the third canto of Bhagavatam, again we get all this verse where these qualities are mentioned of a pure devotee of the Lord. He is friendly to every human being. That was Prabhupada. He was friendly to everyone who came to see him, whom he met. He never discriminated. Even with those who would smoke and would talk to him, he did not even discriminate among his disciples and them while talking to them. So that is what Prabhupada taught everybody. The Lord wants to explain the above mentioned system of knowledge because Arjuna is Krishna's confidential devotee and friend. In the beginning of the 4th chapter, this explanation was given by the Lord and it is again confirmed here. Krishna again and again repeats. There are some verses that have been again and again repeated again in the Bhagavad Gita itself. It was spoken in 45 minutes and yet Krishna is stressing so many points in it. And he talks of Man bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskaru. He talks about this again and again, that surrender to me, be my devotee, worship me, come to me. So this is what Krishna actually is repeating. And in the 4th chapter also, if you go back to the 4th chapter, it's the transcendental knowledge. And here he is giving the knowledge of the absolute. So there is no difference. He's stressing the point. He wants us, why the repetition is done. Repetition is done to drive the point home, to make us understand the point. That is why the repetition is done. So it's very important that we try to understand what he wants us to know. In this 4th chapter, when he talks about everything, he talks about that how when you surrender, he says, when you surrender to me, I reciprocate with you according to the percentage of your surrender. Now he's thrown the ball in our court. He says, the percentage of your surrender is what I'm reciprocating to you. So one can understand very easily how much Krishna is reciprocating with him. If you are totally surrendered, you will feel Krishna in your life all the time. He will be with you. But if you are not surrendered, then the reciprocation, we won't feel it even. So that is how he tells us. If you are 10% surrendered, 10% reciprocation with you. You are 100% surrendered, 100% reciprocation will come. It's a fact. Because this is an experiential knowledge. It is not a knowledge as just a theory. It's not a theory. It's the experiential knowledge. That is why it is called science. It's practical. Just apply it and see in life what happens. So, Ye Yatha Mam Prapadanta is a very important verse here. And at the purport of that verse, only Rupa Goswami again talks of Ado Shraddha Tado Sadhu Sankta Bhajan Kriya. What I just spoke from the Granth Sahib, he speaks again there also. It says that if you have a little bit of faith, then what happens, he says, Ado Shraddha Tado Sadhu Sang. If you have a little bit of faith in me, Krishna, if you have a little bit of faith in Krishna, then what happens? You get the Bhajan Kriya will come. Ado Shraddha Tado Sadhu Sang will come. How the Bhajan Kriya will come? Through the Sadhu Sang. So the association of devotee is so important. Just little bit of faith and Krishna pulls you to the association of devotees because he is present in the association of devotees. He is not present anywhere else. He is always present in the devotee association. When two Vaishnavas do the Vaishnava Pranam, they bow down to each other. So one person feels, oh, see the other person when he saw, he bowed down to me. It's not to him. The person bows down to the Krishna who is standing in between both of you. That is, they bow down to. That is Krishna. So one who understands this, he understands Krishna. He's trying to understand Krishna. The more you try to understand Krishna, more Krishna pulls you towards himself. And more he reveals about himself. So that is because he knows that is Ye Yatha Mam Prapadante, that you are trying to surrender to him. The more you try to surrender to him, the more reciprocation will come. That is how Guru appears in your life. You want it, because we know the Dhruv Maharaj Katha. Dhruv Maharaj went to the forest and he is yelling for Krishna. He's screaming on top of his voice, Krishna, Krishna. He's calling him, Vishnu, where are you? And then who appeared? The spiritual master appeared. So when we call for Krishna, when we want to know Krishna, then Krishna makes the sadhu sangha. That is how Dhruv met Naradji. That is how we came to the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. That is how we entered the temple and we found our spiritual master. Because we were yelling like Dhruva, we wanted a guide, we wanted to surrender to Krishna, and he made it possible through the spiritual master. So that is, the Bhagavad Gita actually talks about all this, that how we surrender. So here it says, then Prabhupada tells here, therefore one should be intelligent enough to know the source of all knowledge. So one should be intelligent. That means one is intelligent if he knows the source of all knowledge. The source of all knowledge is Krishna. Cause of all causes is Krishna. Even the Gurbani says, Jinmanantar Harprite Sojana Sugad Siyane. Those who actually chant the holy name of Hari, they are most intelligent. There can be none better than them. They are the best ones. So in 4 lakh of human species, we know there are 4 lakh of human species. So in 4 lakh of human species, the topmost are the ones, the pure devotees of Sri Krishna, the pure devotees of the Lord. And Prabhupada writes here, therefore one should be intelligent enough to know the source of all knowledge, who is the cause of all causes, and the only object for meditation in all types of yoga practice. So in all types of yoga practice, the Hatha Yoga, the Dhyana Yoga, which we have heard so much of, people still, they go crazy for these. But all the yogas, where do they culminate? Where do they go? Like all the rivers flow into the ocean. So all the yogas, they go to Krishna. Everybody is actually craving for Krishna through all these practices. But the topmost is the Bhakti Yoga. That has been declared by Lord Kapila, that has been declared by Krishna himself. He says clearly, Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. I am impartial to all. I am not partial to anyone. But my devotees only know me. Bhaktya Mam Abhijanati. He's so clever, he says everything, and he says when the Mahabharata war is about to happen, he said, I will not pick up any Shastra. And then to protect Arjuna, what does he do? He gets off the chariot and takes the wheel as the Shastra. He can do anything. He picks up the wheel and makes it a Shastra. He makes it a weapon. So that's Krishna. He can go back on his words for his devotee. Only for his devotee. So here, Bhaktya Mama Vijanati means only that my devotee can know me. Because devotee means who is devoted, who is following devotional service, who is surrendered. So a devotee is always surrendered. And when the cause of all causes becomes known, then everything knowable becomes known and nothing remains unknown. So one who understands the Supreme Lord, who is the source of all knowledge, then nothing remains to be known. Our kaj kite na kam. So all what we do in this world, may we have big degrees, may we have big jobs, everything may we have, but at the end of this life, at the last moment in this world, they will not be of any use to us. Not even our family. It says the Gurvani, Sangha Sakha Sab Taj Gai Koi Na Nibhav Saath. Everybody will leave us. Our family will leave us. Our children will leave us. They will all burn this body away. They bury or burn this body away. They will all leave us. Koi na nibhav saath. And it says, in this moment of crisis, is bipat ki ghadi mein ek tek raghunath. So in this moment of crisis, when everybody will leave us, there will be only one support, and that is the Supreme Lord. He will be there for us. So we will be protected by Him. So that moment will come in everybody's life. Everybody has to die. Nobody can say, I will not die. So everybody will have to leave this world one time or the other. So we all will leave, but those who understand this phenomenal knowledge and the numinous knowledge, they know that what has to be done with this body. This soul took this body only to serve Krishna. But we put this body in for our use. We wanted to serve our desires. We wanted to do sense gratification. We wanted to serve our family with this body. But this body was given only to serve Krishna. So this body it's the means to go back to the Supreme Lord. But we misused it. And we should take the best advantage now and as being in the human form and try to go back to the Supreme Being. So that's what the purpose of human life is. So I think I should be taking questions now. It's 8:24. This class goes on till, that's it, 8:30. So any questions anybody has? Yes, Hari Bol.
Thank you for the nice lecture. Mataji, could you please help me understand how these two statements actually come together? In one place, Krishna says that I only reciprocate to in proportion to the level of surrender. And there's another saying if you take one step towards Krishna, he takes 10 steps towards you. How do we reconcile these two things?
That's a nice question, because you take one step. One step is very difficult to take. The one step that is you're taking, that Krishna understands. It's very difficult in this material world. And one sincere step. If you just take one sincere step, Krishna comes 10 steps to pull you. Krishna word means all attractive. So that's your surrender he's saying, and that's why he's reciprocating. So that's perfect. The answer is there in itself, what you have asked me. The answer is itself, it's in there. That your one step, it's with great difficulty it's taken. One sincere step. Because it's not easy in this material world. We go out and preach to so many people. Yesterday we were doing book distribution. You go and approach so many people. You just tell them, give them you want to give them the information, and you go this way, that way. You don't go direct way even. And then also they say, no, no, no. It goes like the head is always going this way. No, no, we don't want, we don't want. So they don't want to accept it. So when they don't want to accept it, you are unable to give it. And that is how. And if one sincere soul approaches you and you approach that soul, and that soul takes one step towards Krishna, and Krishna eagerly comes and pulls that person. He is eager to come. That's why he's always standing. He never sits. He's so eager to pull us back. He's so eager that we should go back. That's why he sends so many acharyas, so many representatives. He's so eager that we should go back. We don't want to go back. We say, oh, I'm happy here. It's just like when Indra was he was given the birth of a pig. He was so happy here. He was thriving on the stool and he said, I don't want to go to the heavens even. I don't want to go there. So you see, it is very difficult to take one step towards Krishna because it needs a lot of courage. It needs a lot of those qualities we are talking, Krishna talks about here, honesty. It needs a lot of perseverance. Everything is needed just for that one step. Sincere step, taken with full intelligence and in full consciousness. That is the real step. So we should be very particular when we take some commitment. We should actually, that is why Diksha is. That is again, yesterday I was talking about the Diksha. Without Diksha, there is no knowledge. The knowledge will not sustain in you. So, bin Diksha kaisa gyan? Without Diksha, there is no knowledge. No knowledge, there is no divine knowledge, no transcendental knowledge. So, Diksha means when you surrender to the spiritual master, that you take a vow that you will serve Krishna. So that is your step towards him. And if you go back from your vows, then one has to suffer. Likewise, we were yesterday saying that one who chants one round in the Kartik month, he will get the benefit of 1,000 rounds. It's the same way, vice versa also. If you commit one offense, you get 1,000 retaliation of that offense also. You see? So we should be very careful in spiritual life. Spiritual life, actually it's said, Savdhan ekagarichit. It says one has to be very, very savdhan, beware, very, very careful in spiritual life. It doesn't mean that we will not laugh or smile, but it means that we have to be very grave and serious in our spiritual life. That is the sincerity we show, commitment. We have to be very committed to our words, committed to our vows. That's very important. So that one step you take, and Krishna is eagerly waiting to take those 10 steps to pull you. Haribol. Yes, yes, Prabhuji.
Mataji, you mentioned that we should, as a devotee, we should live a very simple life and just do as minimal and focus more and more on Lord Krishna. But one these days can say, no, I'm very intelligent, or these days it's smart. I'll do both. Now I have got some knowledge, I've also got the initiation, so I will do Krishna consciousness, yet I will also carry on with my materialistic activities, power creation, lording over the money and all those things. Maybe I can give some donation to the temple and so forth. Isn't it a trap?
It's the person's understanding. If he understands it this way, then it's not good for him. It's actually the level of your surrender again. That's your level of surrender, and Krishna gives you the intelligence according to your level of surrender. He says, Tesham sada yuktanam bhajantam priti purkam dadami buddhi yogantam yena mamupyantyate. I give the knowledge to come back to me. So it's again according to your surrender. So if your surrender is like that, so Krishna is just a witness. He's there in our hearts. He's watching everything. So the more, if we really want to surrender, if we are more into the association of devotees, that is why Prabhupada made it a rule that everybody should listen to the Bhagavad Gita class in the evening and the morning Bhagavatam. So they should be always into the scriptures. They should always be into the knowledge so that they can apply it in their lives. So if one does not take this advantage, so he is bound to actually fall away from this. So it is from person to person. And Prabhupada says here that this is an hospital, These temples are hospitals. They are Vaikunthas, but they are hospitals as well. So everybody, you cannot expect that he will be first class. So everybody is suffering from some illness or the other. So we can only focus on our own selves. That is why it is important that we see the qualities in others, the good qualities and faults in ourselves. That's all. We should not look around for the faults in others. Maybe in the management all we see lots of faults in others. So those should be reported to the authorities and not talked about in the congregation. That's all. I've learned this from my spiritual master. That is the only way we can save ourselves. If we go into like this, if we start criticizing everybody, so you'll find no one who is perfect, including ourselves. We have millions of faults in ourselves. So first we should try to become sincere devotees ourselves and just see the good qualities in other. And if we see something wrong they are doing in the administration way or some way, so we can only report to the authorities who would take action on them. And my Guru Maharaj used to tell me, then your job is over. If you have reported, your job is over now. Now you should not meditate on that thing. You should only meditate on Krishna. That's all. You should meditate on how you can do your preaching, how you can go ahead and do your sadhana. Don't meditate on that. Let that be the job of the authorities. That's all. Let them do it. So that's how we understand that is how Iskcon has grown big. Because Prabhupada's disciples, they strictly followed this. And that is how Iskcon grew from 108 temples to more than 900 temples. So that is the process we have to follow. Yes, who wanted? Yes, Prabhuji at the back.
My question is basic. I had a couple, but now with the time, just one question. You talk about Sukshma Sharir has got Man, Chit and Ahankar. So false ego, you use that word. Is there true ego as well?
There is only one ego we have, That is false. Trinadapi sunichena tarorapi sahishna. If you follow that verse, you'll get rid of this false ego. Because our Krishna has got everything and he can actually speak about it. That come to me, follow me, be my devotee. We cannot say that we are I'm the controller. We cannot control our body itself. Right now, while sitting also, I don't know, if I get some problem, I may not be able to even lift my finger. That can happen to me. So what to say, like if I say this body is mine and I'm the controller, we will never be the controllers. We can never be. So there is only Krishna. He is actually the real controller. So our ego is always the false. We are meant to be servants. Jivara Sarupa Nitya Krishna Das. Our real Savrupa is only being the devotee, a servant of Krishna. So a servant does not have an ego. Servant is always serving the master. If he has ego, if you keep a help at your home, and if that help, the domestic servant, if he has an ego, you will kick him out the next day only. You will not keep him. So if we keep an ego, Krishna, we are his servants, he would kick us away. We have to shut off our ego. We have to get rid of our ego. And there is nothing like that, or self-respect or something. Amanina manadena kirtaniye sadahari. If you really want to be in the service of Krishna, there is only one thing you have to do is that you have to give respect to others without expecting any respect for yourself. That is how a devotee is. Devotee, if he gets respect, then also his hands are folded. If he doesn't get respect, his hands are folded. That's all. He should be like that. So never forget this verse. My Guru Maharaj used to say, tie this verse in your neck all the time. All the time when you think something you are actually, something is hindering your bhakti, it's impeding it. So remember this verse always. If you'll follow this verse in the true sense, some people think, we will be exploited, If we follow this too literally, we will be exploited. But I've seen in my personal experience, when you follow this verse, you may think the other person is taking advantage of you. But in the later years, when the years pass by, you will think those same persons will come and respect you more and more and more. They will come back to you. Just your little patience, your little tolerance, your little this, it says humility, will pay you a big price, and your numbers will be up before Krishna. These are not my words, these are word of my Guru Maharaj. He said, your numbers will be up before Krishna, don't worry. Because Krishna is watching everything. He knows everything. So why you worry then? In Gurbani, there's a line that comes, it says, Guru Nanak Ji says, मेरे को राजा भी बना दो, राजा से राजा भी बना दोगे तो nothing will be, I will not gain anything. भिखारी से भिखारी भी कर दोगे, nothing will go away from me. So it's there. Krishna may make us an emperor also, make us a pauper also. We gain or lose nothing. We have to go back. In any case, we have to actually sing his glories. जिस ठाकुर सियो नाही चारा ताको कीजिए सत नमस्कारा. We have no other option. There are no options for us. We have only one thing with us. We have to serve him. We have to surrender to him. And if we smilingly surrender, Krishna is very pleased with us. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Similarly, thank you for enlightening us. There's 3 points that you mentioned. So the first one is, even from yesterday, Sukhmani Sabi said 9th verse, which is being honest. That is one. And then you talk about Suksham Sharir again, which means we need to dissolve in order to release our soul. And then which is our Swarup, which means actually we need to serve Krishna. So when you take these 3 aspects and you're actually preaching to maybe university students, the first thing that they think is that, okay, then they have to leave everything, because they think that serving Krishna means maybe coming to the temple all the time, or actually finding out how they can serve, how they can find themselves. So I would like your enlightenment.
Yeah. First thing we have to, it's very clear that yoga means jodana, connecting. So you are connecting Krishna to your life. And that's not important for you to come to the temple. You can do that at home as well. But temple is the place that is very purified. Temple is the place where the energy is very positive. It becomes easy here. The work becomes very easy here. So one thing is, for a neophyte devotee, we guide them. Of course, they can remain home and practice this. This name has got equal potency. It's got high potency in it. So the potency is no less. Whether they chant at home, they chant on the road, they chant in the temple. But in a temple, they have more opportunity of the sadhu sangha. They can be more motivated. So in the morning when we chant in the Mangalarti, if we come here and we are chanting, and if we're feeling sleepy, we see others, oh, they are so nicely chanting, we wake up immediately and we also chant. So it's motivating. And your other question was that we have to leave everything. No, we need not leave everything, anything. Nothing has to go away from us. It says Yukta Vairagya. That's Rupa Goswami gave us, that's the Krishna tells us. He never told Arjuna to leave the fight and go and sit in the forest. He said, fight. You have to fight. So if people think it wrong that, oh, we have to leave everything and we will be, if we are a devotee, we will leave our homes. Even the family members get worried, oh, this boy will become a brahmachari, or the family life will be ruined, you know. If husband, wife, they become devotees, what will happen to their kids? How will they... If a wife becomes a devotee, then husband is worried. If a husband becomes a devotee, the wife is worried. If they both become devotee, the parents are worried that how their children will go ahead. So it is, nothing happens in life. It is, we are attaching Krishna to our family life. We become a better husband, a better wife, if we are actually nice devotees. This actually can be said through the example. We don't leave anything. We're just adding Krishna to our life. You may be a businessman, you keep on doing your business. I know so many people. We've seen Alfred Ford, Amrish Das. He's still in his business. He hasn't renounced the world. He's there. He's a simple man. I've personally met him so many times. I've served him with Guru Maharaj, was for lunch prasad and all, he had come. He's such a simple person. He'll sit on the floor, he'll eat prasadam. When he goes out, you see him, he was in Delhi and he had gone to Taj Palace for his business meeting. He was all well dressed in a suit and a pant coat and a tie, and he was there. In the temple, he was in a dhoti and kurta, and he was sitting on the floor and having prasad. And he donates like 350 crores of rupees to Mayapur temple. And he donated 50 crores in 1970s, 80s, early 80s for Mayapur temple. And he was actually grilled by the press in India. At that time, Richard Gere had donated like a big sum with Shabana Azmi to make a hospital on AIDS, for the patients who were suffering from AIDS. A big hospital was made. And Alfred Ford at the same time had given 50 crores to Mayapur temple project that was upcoming there. And then the press questioned him. So why do a temple? Why didn't you make a hospital? People are suffering. Why didn't you make a hospital? Like Richard Gere, they gave the example. So Alfred Ford, he said, Amrish Das Prabhu said, the hospital has been made to cure the people who are suffering from AIDS. I have given the money where when people go there, they will never get AIDS. So what is better? Precaution is better or the cure is better? And the press was all quiet. So he said, that is the Vedic institution. It's not just a temple. So we can guide the students. It's a Vedic knowledge we are giving. It's Vedic institution here. It's not just we are having Bhagavad Gita class, Bhagavatam class. We are not talking only of deity worship. Deity worship is a part of it that can purify us. But even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, if there is a comparison, if you have a choice to do deity worship or the chanting, chanting is more important. That is very important. I was told by Guru Maharaj never to keep deities at home. He said, you're not keeping deities at home. So he wanted actually to chant and me to preach, go out and preach, not to be tied to the deities. So preaching is more important. It's the essence. And chanting is very important if preaching has to be done. It is it's the basis of foundation of transcendental knowledge. Knowledge comes from chanting. We may think, oh, chanting is just repetition of the name we are doing. You do it sincerely, you will understand the scriptures without reading them even. I can assure you that. You can just know them. When you open up and you see, you say, oh, I knew this. How did you know it? Because your chanting revealed that to you. So it is important that we actually give such examples to the students when we meet them. And of course, we have to go ahead with the other day I gave a lecture there was a session I gave in Jaipur in India. It was the management sutras from Bhagavad Gita. So I did a PPT on that, the management sutras. The Bhagavad Gita reveals so much of knowledge. Even for this phenomenal world also we have the knowledge. We can do the management in our corporate sector also through learning from Krishna, learning from what Krishna gave to Arjuna. So Arjuna was told to fight. Arjuna was never told to go to the forest or sit aside. And Arjuna did his duty under the guidance of Krishna, a mentor. So that is why so many life coaches and all motivational speakers are so much popular these days. So the first motivational speaker is Krishna himself. He's the life coach. He gave this Bhagavad Gita, the life. He's given this manual to us. So we have so many things in Bhagavad Gita. We can actually extract so many gems from Bhagavad Gita. It's not just 700 verses. It's got millions of gems in it. So I hope I answered your question. Haribol. So we'll end the session here, otherwise I'll keep on going. Yes, Prabhu.
One small question again. That when people get involved too much into bhakti, is that rajogun in support?
Bhakti mein to aap, I have to speak in English. Bhakti is the one where you can race with your eyes closed. You can go to any depth, any extent. You need not even open your eyes. You just shut your eyes and go deep into the bhakti, in devotion. So, yes, that is Vishuddha Sattva. It's above all the gunas. So one actually, and the real essence of bhakti, one should understand, chanting is the real essence, surrendering to the spiritual master and serving Krishna and be in the association of devotees. Bhakti cannot be done on your own. Don't be a manmukh, no mental speculations. It has to be done according to the scriptures. Because Krishna says that the person who actually performs bhakti, pure devotional service who does, but with knowledge given in the scriptures. If he follows the knowledge and performs the devotional service, pure devotional service, he is very dear to me. It has to be done according to the scriptures. One cannot be a manmukh. Manmukh will lose everything. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavad Gita Yatharup ki jai. God Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Oh no, Prabhuji.